I say, this will be a trial this morning, and we'll see how it goes. And is Carol on there? Do we know?
She has not signed in. So I guess she told me she would try if she wasn't too busy with something else. So
yeah, we're basically a guinea pig. The Board of Commissioners wanted us to try this, and I think they're gonna try it Monday evening if
okay. I've got the, hold on a second. I've got the, okay. I think I was having some feedback from the live stream the volume being up on it, but I've got that muted now, so I think we're good.
How does that work? Do you see if there's people? Can you tell if there's people watching it?
Well, I shared the YouTube channel on our Facebook page, but Dan, I don't know exactly how it works because this is my first time too.
Have Quentin or somebody go on if it's on the homepage, just have them do a test and see if see if they watch us.
I'm trying to get over there now and see.
Well, let your staff, they can watch us.
So first time too. It is. It's going. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're good if you're ready.
Okay. Do you want Carol to watch it on Facebook on the site, or join us?
I'm giving her the link so she can watch it if she wants to. She has the link to watch it if she wants to.
Okay. All right. If we see her, we'll give her a little brief. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. Here it is. My time says 9:35. And everyone sees the agenda that Lauren's got posted, and should see that on your screen. I told Lauren that we wanted to try to keep this meeting somewhat brief, but handle our necessary business. And the first thing was, of course, updating everyone on the state of emergency.
Before you go with that, Dan, how come I'm not able to see Dan's face?
Because I have mine blocked, the muted. I have the audio only.
Oh, okay. Okay. It
was when I was logging in, it gave me a choice.
Oh, okay.
Right. I haven't shaved, and my hair, I'm due for a haircut, and I thought, well, if it was going to be open to the public, if it was just us, I don't mind. But if we open to the public, I
understand.
Okay, so okay, I see Janet joining us. Hey, Janet.
I had asked her to come in case y'all had any questions about the personal property. Can you hear us, Jan? I can't see her yet, Dan.
She's still connecting, it says.
I
know it depends on your internet connection as to how quickly you can get booted in. Anyway, let's see, back on the state of emergency. Let's see, Lauren, you forwarded the local orders and then the governor's order, and you're going to put those as part of these minutes.
Yes, sir, I will. And I do have the one order that he gave pertaining to this office to review under this agenda item also. But I think that we were told that the first thing that we needed to do is make a motion to conduct the meetings via teleconference until the state of emergency is lifted.
So you need a motion now?
Yes, please.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to conduct the meeting via teleconference in accordance with the state of emergency orders, and of course, after Lauren consulted with counsel as well. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, motion passes. Let's see quickly, Lauren, up on the county, give us an update on the understand the county offices, y'all closed it as effective yesterday.
Yes, sir. The county commissioner's office had sent a notice back mid-March for that the majority of the offices were closing their doors to the public and would be conducting all business via telephone, email. We had kept our doors open because of the upcoming deadlines, and we didn't want anybody to feel that they missed their application window. And so we did make some modifications in the office so that we can conduct business through a transaction window, and we handled all of those. That first deadline passed on the 1st of April, and so we are closing the office to the public, and we're going to do teleworking. We put a sign on the front door instructing customers on how to contact us via phone call, text, email, the website, and I have made some little tabs and laminated those tabs and put them in a box so they could just grab one of those to take it with them, so they would have ready access to the contact. We also put on the notice that if it was absolutely necessary, we would meet by appointment. And so we're all set up to work out of the house. At this point, we will be coming to the office as necessary to check the mail, or if we have an appointment with anyone. Trying to think, do y'all have any other questions about that? Oh, Carol did send us all letters today to have with us that authorize us to leave home as essential workers if it's necessary. I've laminated those and put my employees' names on them. And they will have those and their county ID badges in the car. If they have to, if it's necessary for them to travel, they will have that with them.
Okay, okay. I appreciate you keeping us as a board and the board members updated and sharing the picture of your transaction window. And you know, it appears you know, to me that y'all have handled in a very professional manner and been dealing with the situation as best you can. I just want to commend you and your staff on the job y'all are doing.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
Okay. So I guess moving on, let's see, the next thing is to approve the agenda. Does anyone see any additions or changes to the agenda as presented?
Looks good.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, and we'll move on to new business. Let's see, okay, then the first item is the personal property audit results for Verizon.
Just
like
there was
had
one
about
other thing
6.
that I wanted to address in that state of emergency right quick, Dan. I missed that. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, that's fine.
The governor did issue an order extending the deadline for the conservation use and the Forest Land Protection Act.
Yeah, let's do that separate. That's more specific to us.
Okay.
At the beginning, I was doing more just the general.
Okay.
County and state and sort of the general.
Well, I guess we'll discuss that during members matters then. I'll come back to it.
Well, we can do it under conservation use as your lead in.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is the first audit account for Verizon Wireless. This is I just put the summary pages on here. I know I sent y'all the full copy of each account previously. So this is the summary for 2016, 2017, and 2018. We're just looking to approve these values for account. This is for account 2815. We can go through them all and then just make a motion to approve all 6 at once, if that's fine with you guys.
Okay. And I see Jan, I believe she's now got.
I'm late. I'm sorry.
I saw you were trying. I saw you tried several times unsuccessfully to join.
This is new to me, Dan. Let me get my And I had technical difficulties, but I'm here now.
Well, I know, I have, sometimes it takes, the internet connection. It can be difficult. I have to try several times to join conferences I'm on. So, all right, thanks, welcome. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Let's see, we were just now talking about, some of your business, these, Verizon audits.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, let's see, Lauren, what you propose, you want to recommend, you're recommending that we approve the reports as presented, and where Jan and our consultant firm has done the reviews. I guess we need a motion to approve those, and then we'll have discussion on it and have questions.
Yes, sir. Are we just gonna approve, is the motion gonna be to approve all 6?
Okay, I move that we approve all 6 of the audits as done by Jan and the audit group.
And I second the motion.
Okay, so now we have a motion on the floor to approve the Verizon audit reports. So now we'll entertain discussion. And let's see, maybe Lauren, either you or Jan, do y'all want to quickly, I know you sent us the emails and I think we've all had a chance to look at the reports. I believe, are you pulling those up quickly to?
I was just trying to zoom in on these summary pages so y'all could see them a little better, but it doesn't look like that's happening. I don't know why I can't get it bigger, but
Well, I see your summary page do you want to just pull up one of your reports just to quickly walk through and have questions on it?
okay, give me just
They
a
all
second.
look like they were similar type findings. When I glanced at them, it looked like there was some unreported equipment.
Y'all are gonna just give me just a moment because I didn't have this ready. I didn't know you were gonna want these, and I'm gonna have to pull them out of my email because I'm working off of my laptop because my computer at work doesn't have
That's
video.
fine, that's fine.
Sorry, y'all.
Okay.
There we go. Well,
It was about a week ago.
yeah, I was just trying to, here we go.
Yeah, we
I'll
we
see
normally
that.
sort of look at them.
Mhm.
Right, okay.
Is it showing?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you
No.
should be able to see it now.
Okay.
Jan, do you want to walk us through it?
Pretty much like the other ones, there's a lot of unreported on here. There's a lot of detail on all of these. It's got to be corrected. Which
I'm
one
gonna
is this?
get
Was the
to-
first one? No, that's not the first one, is it?
This is 2875. It just happened to be the one that I pulled up. This is,
Okay.
here's all the,
That may help, just that sort of summarizes the.
That summarizes everything right there, Dan, about all the, the positive and negatives to that audit.
Right. Mhm. And that's what I remember, things like that diesel generator. Some of those findings were the same on most, I think all 6 of the sites had pretty similar findings.
right, yes, sir. And they took some pictures. And once these are approved, we will send a notice of assessment to Verizon on each account And
So why don't you, let's see, that's your summary page. Like, and of course, that was what you had highlighted that you just had in our board package, that summary page. But what I see is some of the years might have been in parentheses or negative, and then some of the corrections were positive.
yes, sir.
And
Right.
so some may be a refund, some may be owing money. And it looks like in general, it's that they're gonna owe money for the 6 of them combined. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Owe some, okay.
And I mean, and there's like a complete breakdown right there showing each asset and what was done to it, was reclassified or, you know, et cetera. So there's a detailed report about each one of these accounts.
Right, and that's getting pretty technical because it refers to IRS regulations and so on.
Yes, sir.
It
That's
gets a
correct.
little over our heads, but okay, thanks. Does anyone have questions for Lauren or Jan about the recommendation or reports?
Jan, I don't have a question on the recommendation or anything. Just curious to know if the customer, if in this case, if Verizon is aware of these bottom line recommendations before they get them. I mean, when the auditor does his audit,
Mhm.
is Verizon or is the customer there and sees what's going on and knows that?
When we do an on-site or,
Yeah, when you do this, when you did this on site, when they did this on site, there and aware that approximate values that he was going to be receiving.
the customer, after you pull the correct information from them, when Al and Darcy request all the details of their assets, they know that there's a
Okay.
process coming. And then now I was on this field audit with Darcy, so I went to all of these with her. So this clears up a lot of things that we didn't have in our system, that corrections. It clears up a lot. But yeah, they're aware that there's going to be an on-site and then they'll get the results of that once this is approved and we send them everything else. They'll get a letter and a notice of assessments.
Okay, so right now they don't know what the results are. They don't have.
They don't. No, sir, they don't. Not till y'all approve it and we get okay to send everything to them and notify them.
Okay, all right.
But if I understand correctly, they may know their issues.
Correct.
Questions that were raised. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, if you're being audited, I would assume they would know that something's coming down the pipe. So.
Right. So you and the consultant are working with the accountants, or their in-house accountants or outside accountants or whoever
Right.
they have that submits their files they return each year.
That's correct. They do the initial request to say, you know, you're under audit. This is and they request certain information from them. And it may take a few days, it may take weeks or months to get it from them, but that's where the process starts.
Okay. And then I think they have like to call either you or Alan if they have questions, Al, if they have questions.
Right, they can.
Okay.
They can. If it's something I can't handle and it's something that he needs to answer, I'll refer them to him that day so he can take care of it.
Okay. Okay, let's see, does that answer?
It does.
Okay, all right. Are there any other discussion, any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to vote. Let's see, we got a motion to approve and accept the recommendations of the staff and our chief appraiser on these. I believe there are 6 reports, if I might say.
Motion.
Right, six reports.
We've got a
Okay.
motion and a second. I think we're just waiting on the vote.
Right, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes. Okay, all right, thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Jan.
And Jan, you're more than welcome to stay with us if you want to, but if you need to get back to doing your entries, that's fine. We appreciate you coming for this portion.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
I'll go.
You can just do your work and listen. Let us know if there's any technical issues. Just why don't you keep observing and let us know how it goes.
You
Oh, you-
can, Jan, I think there's a button where you can turn the video off. Do you see that?
I'll
And
find
then you
it.
can still watch.
And I think you can mute your end that way if,
Right.
we won't hear your dog barking or anything.
Well, she don't bark too much, Dan.
Okay,
But I'll mute it if I can find it, okay?
all right. And
Okay,
I
so
bet-
I've got that vote, and then the next thing,
all right,
was
moving on. Let's see, the next item of business is the table of conservation use values is received from DOR. Lauren, you want to give us an update or report on that?
Yes, sir. On the right-hand side of your screen, you should be able to see the one page of the letter that we received from DOR. I've kind of highlighted the section that pertains to us. They have, you can see listed there, it starts with the W1 and goes all the way down to the W9. That's for the woodland values, with 1 being the highest and 9 being the lowest. And then that follows that same for the ag, where it starts with A. Do y'all see that section?
Under
Yeah.
D, yeah.
Right, it's right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Talbot County may be hidden under our photos on the side on mine anyway, but yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So, well, let's see if I can just roll it up just a little bit.
Well, I
for you.
think on mine, what I do is I hit this minimize and there I see everything now.
Okay.
I'm
All
gonna-
right. So these numbers came down from the state of Georgia, just like they do every year. And we just need to approve these so that we can enter them into the schedules and update the schedules for the conservation use for digest year 2020.
Okay, so you need a motion for that?
I do. Yes, sir.
So the motion again is to say again that motion.
To approve the Department of Revenue, Local Government Services Division table of conservation use land values.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All right, let's see, Lauren, be sure to include that at the top of the page where it says for the purpose of prescribing the 2020 current use.
Yes, sir.
You should be sure to include that lead in at the top, that it's 2020 current use.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Let's see, so I'll open it for discussion. Question I had, Lauren, I guess is, I think the law limits it, if I recall, is it a 3% increase each year?
Yes, sir.
Do you know, did these values go up to the cap, is it the full 3% increase?
I have not compared it, but I can look right quick if you want me to.
Well, if you haven't already done it, don't bother, but that's, I just, sharing, there's a comment, these typically go up every year and typically what we've seen is it goes up to 3%. It hits the cap because the market is, we typically see they go up 3% each year. Okay, you're just a comment. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes. I'm gonna see if I can, okay, I'll put y'all back in my corner. I can see you now again. All right, let's see, moving on. Let's see, then we got the table of forest land protection values from DOR. Lauren, you want to?
This is the same thing as what we were looking at with the conservation use. And you'll even notice that these numbers here, like the W1, it shows the 882 as the highest level. This is going to match the same numbers that we just approved for the woodland timber values on the conservation. So the forest land and the conservation numbers are the same for the timber side. So we are just approving these for the forest land for the digest year 2020.
Right, if I understand, it's just two different programs, so they're two different code sections, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you'll see that at the top where it has starts at that 560-11, whatever. So, okay, thanks, Lauren. Let's see, entertain a motion.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to accept the DOR table for FLIPA for the year 2020 current use values. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thanks. All right. All right, let's see, moving on. Now we got the harvest timber values. Lauren, you want to tell us about that?
This is also from the Georgia Department of Revenue, and this is a table of owner harvest timber values they give us. We will put these in the system as well. I've highlighted Talbot, and it gives a price for the pulpwood, chip and saw timber, poles, posts, fuel chips, pulpwood. It goes all the way across, and as you can see, those numbers vary, with the highest being about $44.12, and then the lowest at the fuel chips at $4.19, and those are just used as a base.
Okay, and if these are the owner harvest, if someone has a sawmill in the backyard and cuts their own trees and builds them a barn or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see, do we have a motion to accept?
But I guess it's not time for a question, is it?
Well, we can, you can, just to clarify what we're going to be making.
Yeah, so so these numbers then are used by, you said something about an owner, explain again. I'm not sure who uses it and how it's used, these numbers.
These numbers the purpose of them is to calculate the taxes that are paid on cut timber. That's the purpose of these numbers.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, and if I understand, Lauren, you can clarify this, but if I had my timber cut by, say, Oliver Logging, they would report how much they paid, and how much they paid me would get reported, and that's what I'd pay tax on. But if I cut a few trees and build a barn, this is used to determine what the value, I can't just guess at my tree value. This is from the state, how much of the top, what says pulpwood or softwood or poles, it is the same categories as if I had it harvested and sold it to a mill, but it's like if I used it myself.
Right, that's correct.
So, okay, so do we have a motion to approve the table of owner harvested timber table for 2020?
Motion?
Second.
Okay, so we've got a motion to approve the table of owner harvest timber values for 2020 as from the Department of Revenue. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all right, thanks. All right, let's see, then the next thing is the, let's see, the Q Public Appeal Module and Notice of Assessment Posting. And let's see, Lauren, I believe you're going to share a new method that, a new additional method that can be used for appeals.
Yes, sir. It has been brought to my attention by Q Public that they are offering an online assessment appeal module that's added to the website. This, I think, is especially prevalent given the current situation that we have with the state of emergency and the virus, and not knowing how long it's going to go on. This would give customers the ability to file their appeal via the website. The way that the module works, it steps each person through the process of submitting their appeal, and even allows a comp search for them to submit alongside their appeal. It ensures that the fields in the appeal are auto-populated for the customer so that there's not any missing information. and it assigns each appeal a appeal number, and then the appeals come back to us through the website so that we can process them. And so it looks like a very good product. They also have a product where the notices of assessment are linked there to each account or parcel, so that if for any reason the taxpayer did not receive their notice of assessment, it can be viewed there as well. So I think that's another important thing, because we do have times when customers tell us that they did not receive their assessment notice. With the initial cost for the appeal assessment, there's a setup cost of $2,160. And then there's a monthly hosting fee. The monthly hosting fee is $80. At this point, we already have a subscription to Q Public. This would just be adding on to our current subscription. And that setup fee is, of course, it's a one-time thing. And then the hosting for the notice of assessment is $55, but it doesn't have to be, that's document access. It doesn't have to be just assessment notices. They can also add additional documents that are attached to the parcel, whatever information. It's just the document access, whatever information we decide we want to have available for the public. So we do have, if we were going to do this, we would need to go ahead and get started on it so that it would be ready when we got ready to mail our assessment notices. Due to the training classes being canceled, we have the money in our budget to go ahead and pay for this if we move some funds around out of travel and education. So that's not a problem. We do have the money to take care of it at this time in our budget.
Okay. And if I understand correctly, this is like a Cadillac feature that's been available on the Q Public platform, but we have not bought that. We have the general searching records and so on, but we have not purchased the additional Cadillac feature. And it was all our appeals have been handled in the old-fashioned way of either visiting or mailing them to your office. But with in the situation we're in with the office being closed, you're recommending that we add this new, like, as I call it, a Cadillac feature that's been available, and I guess some other counties have been using it in recent years. And I think of it sort of like the driver's license. You used to always have to go to the Department of Public Safety and renew your license, but now you can still go to the office and do it the old-fashioned way, but you can also do it online now if it's simply a renewal.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So this will be, it won't change the old way, but it'll be a new additional method that folks can, and of course, what likely could happen is we could have more appeals because it's going to be easier, rather than someone thinking, well, I've got to get around to going to Talbot and visit in the office. There they can sit in their pajamas one night and file an appeal. So.
Yes, sir. And I have heard some other offices have concerns about that. But I think that even if once the appeals are filed, they'll be able to do that comp search if necessary when they're submitting their appeal. And we'll give the taxpayer the same one-on-one treatment that we have in the past. Maybe it will just have to be over the telephone when we have that conversation with them about how we came to the, finding for their value. But I'm not overly concerned on an influx of appeals. So, I mean, if they come, we'll deal with them as they come. But I think that this would be a good move for the office with everything the way it is currently. And if it doesn't work out for us, we don't have to continue with it, but I would like to give it a try at least this year.
But it sounds like we're sort of moving into the modern times, sort of the next century, so to speak. And I guess in the past, we've sort of tried to, not spend too much on Cadillac features or something that might have been unnecessary, but I think it's becoming more necessary in this time. And so, and I guess what you need from us is you're making the recommendation to spend the money. What was it, $2,100 in the initial setup fee?
Yes, sir.
And then the monthly fee, I believe you told me it was 700 and something.
No, the monthly fee is $80.
Oh, that's right, about 700 a year. That's right.
Yes,
Which is
sir.
about a 10% increase. We pay 7,500 for our subscription. Is that right, roughly?
That's correct. And a lot of counties offset that cost with having their customers actually have to subscribe to the service to be able to access it. But we've never done that. I want it to be up there and available for everybody to see without them having
Right.
to pay for it.
And I like that because I know I've tried to access, property records in other counties where I've been blocked saying I had to subscribe and pay a fee to Q Public and
Right, and that
But I know
kind of, negates the point of having the service at all to
Right.
me. So,
and I think that decision was made years ago by Talbot County. Just pay the $7,500 and let everybody have access for free.
yes, sir.
But I wanted the board members to realize that going forward, it's going to be about a 10% increase to our annual cost for this additional Cadillac feature on the Q Public site. And so, but it sounds like then for this year, you're talking about roughly $2,400, something like that.
Yes, sir. That's
for the
correct.
remainder of this fiscal year. So, and you say you've got the money available, so we don't have to go to the county board.
Well, we will have to get their approval because it's over the threshold that I can approve inside this office.
Okay.
But it will only have to be approved by one of the commissioners due to the cost. And so I will have to forward it to the county commissioner's office for approval, but
So that's the purpose of bringing it on the agenda this morning.
yes, sir.
Is that you need our approval and authorization, where when you go to the county manager, you say the board of, your board of assessors has approved this and authorized it.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I tell you, before we get into, I guess we've sort of try to get understanding of what we're going to make a motion on now. And I guess for further discussion, do we have a motion to authorize Lauren to proceed with procurement from Q Public of the additional appeals module? Let's see, it's called the appeal module, Q Public appeal module. I guess that's what you got on the agenda. And NOA, and I guess the notice of assessments get posted there as well.
Yes, sir.
But then they also get mailed out the old fashioned way.
Correct.
It's normal in May too. So it's like 2 ways of delivery. So, okay, so I guess I'll motion to match your agenda item of authorize you to procure the Q Public appeal module and NOA posting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Let's see, are there any further, any questions for Lauren on this particular module or cost or anything?
Do most of the counties use this module, Lauren?
Honestly, I know. It's new. I know Richmond County is using it. And they're a large county. And so I honestly have not talked to any small counties that are using this module. But with that being said, we were one of the first counties in the state of Georgia to use the iPad for mobile assessor. We were one of the first counties to get our map. We were one of the first counties to get Q Public. We were one of the first counties to get our maps online. Even though we're a small county, I try to keep us as up to date as possible. I feel like this is a good way for us to serve our taxpayers.
I like it.
Well, and I think too, more and more people have computers, have internet, and are more and more comfortable. Although not everyone, like my mother, she doesn't have a computer, and our church services lately been on the Facebook, and so most folks have been able to watch it, but then there've been a few that don't have, the access, that kind of thing. So, like I
Well,
say,
you're
I
gonna-
like that. I like that this is an alternative method, but we're not changing anything we've been doing in the past. We keep on,
Right.
it's like voting when they added early voting and those kind of things to make it more accessible. In other words, that's what we're doing, is making the appeal process more accessible. And the justification is, of course, the situation with the COVID-19 and the climate we're in right now, and the uncertainty going forward. But once we launch it, then we're going to be looking at the 10% each year, because it's like if you start something new and then change it, folks are going to say, well, hey, I did it this way last year. What happened? I mean, that's my understanding. So. All right. So if there's no further questions or discussion, we have a motion to proceed with procurement, and it was approved and authorized Lauren to coordinate with the county manager on purchasing the appeal module from Q Public. And it'd be like a sole source from Q Public, because that's who we already subscribe with. Like I say, just getting another Cadillac feature. If no further discussion or questions, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. All right. Thanks. And let's see, Lauren, you'll keep us posted on developments there.
Yes, sir, I will.
As you move forward with Carol. Okay,
Yes,
great.
sir.
All right. And thanks. I commend you for thinking of this and sharing it, and researching it and proposing it to us.
Thank you, Dan.
Let's see, homestead applications for 2020, item F.
Yes, sir. And so this is a list of the current homesteads that we have applied for, and the exemption level is out there under the exemption column. We have all the necessary documentation provided with each application to recommend approval on all of these. So we're recommending approval on each one of these accounts for the exemption level that's notated beside the owner name.
Okay. And if I understand, there are none that are pending right now that are, let's see, what about Mr. Epps, the one that I think had been,
I don't see it on the list. I'll get Quentin right quick and ask him what the conclusion was on that. Hold on just a second.
well, if it's still on the table, I mean, if it's still pending, that's fine.
Here, Chad. Chad.
Okay, appears that Lauren and Quentin are at the office. They must be keeping the 6 foot apart, but looks like they're both manned in the office today. Sandra, you must have got up and refilled your coffee a minute ago.
I did.
That's why I've got my screen blocked. Y'all, I've done that a time or two, and y'all hadn't seen me.
And we sent him the denial letter after the meeting, after the last monthly meeting that we had, and we never received any further contact.
Okay, so there are none pending. All of them pending or on this list for approval.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Does he have any recourse as a result of that denial letter?
Well, once he got the denial letter, that was back in February.
Yeah.
And we've reached out to him numerous times, and I mean, so after the 1st of April, no, sir, he would not have any further recourse, because I think the initial application was processed in maybe September of last year.
Yeah. Well, it brings to mind too, I think now that that emergency order and I saw too where people that had driver's license expiring within the next 60 days, they'll still be considered valid because they can't go renew them right now. Seemed like his issue was he had to change his address on his license, wasn't it?
Right,
And
but that is correct. Or he didn't even have to be that necessarily his driver's license. He just had to provide proof of residency at that address. So it could have been with a voter ID card. It could have been with a utility bill, a number of things. It didn't just have to be his driver's license, and we made that clear.
Okay. Well, I was just curious if there was another list besides this one that says approved, so.
Well, I did not ask Quentin that, if there were any that were pending documents besides EPS. And he was on the phone with the customer, so I can
Okay.
find out and
Well,
let you know.
never mind. We'll act on the ones you presented to us. We'll move on then. So right now, let's see, we've got, Lauren has made a recommendation for the list that she's got pulled up there with today's date on it. Got recommendation for approval. I can't see, what are there, about 20 or so on there?
I haven't counted them. Yes, sir.
But anyway, we'll do we have a motion to approve the homesteads as presented by the chief appraiser?
I move that we approve the homestead list as presented by the chief appraiser.
I second.
Okay. Let's see, do we have any questions for Lauren about any of them we see on the list or anything? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Okay. All right, now moving on to the conservation use.
And there
application.
are 1.5 pages here on this.
Okay. Why don't you brief us? You started earlier. Governor Kemp issued an order affecting conservation use and FLIPA. Give us a quick update. The April 1st deadline earlier 2 days ago, he issued an order affecting that.
He did, yes, sir. And you'll see here on the last line where it says ordered, he's authorized and directed the suspension of the code 4857.4 J1 and 4857.7 J1 that provide the deadlines for the Conservation Use and Forest Land Protection Act. And he's extended that deadline through June 1st of 2020.
Okay. So there's no, if I understand correctly, other than you sharing it with us, and we document in the meetings that you shared it with us and made us, that we are aware of it and heeding it. I assume since it's the governor, there's no action for us to take.
No action. This was
Right.
just for me to let you guys know that this has happened and that we will continue accepting the applications for conservation use and FLPA through June 1 per the governor's order.
Okay. And this may be the appropriate time quickly. I saw that memo from the executive director of the GAAO. Let's see, remind me his name, it's McDonald, there it is, Ashley, okay. And I believe he's your counterpart up at Dalton in Whitfield County, the chief appraiser.
Yes, sir.
And of course, he's been, like I went to the annual meeting last July down at Jekyll, and they elect the officers for the ones that have expiring terms. So he's our current executive director.
Dan, I think that maybe we should discuss this briefly in members matters because there's things that concern other stuff besides conservation in this letter.
All right, okay, that'll be fine. If you think that'd be more appropriate, I did want to touch on it briefly, but we'll move on and address it there.
Okay.
So now we're at the conservation use. Now that we've looked at the order from Governor Kemp, let's move on. You got some applications that you want to present.
Yes, sir.
I guess you've got a lot since the deadline had been 2 days ago before it was extended.
We do, yes, sir. We've got this list if you'll see, it has the parcel number, the owner's name, the type of application, whether it was a new application,
Is
a
that
renewal.
the full list, or is that just page one?
Well, there's a page and a half.
A page and a half, okay.
And so it lists the type of application, new, renewal, continuation, release, or breach, and then the recommendation. We have field visited each one of these properties, and we're approving the recommendation is to approve on all of them. All of the renewals will have a release attached to release the prior covenant. And then there will be continuations. For instance, this one, like number 2 here, where you see that there's just a release, there was no continuation. In this particular case, the parcel was too small to continue. So there aren't any that need additional discussion, in my opinion. Like I said, they've all been site visited and are good to go. We're recommending approval for everyone on this list.
Okay, so we have a few new ones or where it's been bought or sold, but most cases it's where the 10-year original covenant expired and the property owner is applying to renew it for another 10 years.
Where it says REN/REL,
Right.
those are the ones that they're renewing after a 10-year covenant.
So they
The
basically
ones that say CONT are continuations based on a sale.
Okay.
And the one there that's, I only see one that has REL, which is released, you say, and that was because it was too small. The acreage is like 5 acres or 10 acres?
It's 10, yes, sir.
Okay. So that was less than 10.
It was, yes, sir.
Okay.
And then I guess too, a property owner could decide on their own not to renew if they wanted to divide up their property or develop a subdivision or whatever, right?
Correct.
It's sort of rare. We don't see that very often, but that's the purpose of the 10 years at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically making the 10-year promise. So, all right. So Lauren has presented the recommendations for approval for the conservation use. Got a list there about a page and a half long. Do we have a motion to approve the recommendations as presented?
Motion.
A second.
Okay, thanks. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay.
And just to clarify, I think that we've decided that one day next week, Dan and I will make an appointment and we'll come up to the office for him to sign all these. But Quentin is going to go ahead and send the approval letters this afternoon once the meeting's over, so he can get that taken care of, and the mail will be on the way to the taxpayers.
I'm wondering, with the governor extending that the 60 days, is that really, I mean, I know, as I understand, is that going to push out the notice of assessments? Another, it's going to push out all your timelines?
It will, it can possibly push out the notices of assessment, yes, sir. But we still send an approval letter. That's different from a notice of assessment. That's just to let them know that their application was approved and
Don't you normally attach the signed?
No, sir.
Oh, you don't? Okay, all right, I'm sorry then. Okay, y'all can proceed on then. Okay. Okay, let's see. I believe we just voted and passed that, didn't we?
Yes,
And
sir.
the next item is releases, and I think you just pointed out there on the list there, the ones that releases.
Yes, sir. They were, okay, I just wrote I guess we do need a separate motion for all of that, the applications and the releases. There were no breaches.
Okay, so now I'm hearing you're recommending a motion to approve the releases as presented on this page and a half list.
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the releases as presented on the list.
Second.
Okay, if no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thanks. And then Lauren, you say there are no breaches this month, so we'll move on to the Forest Land Protection Act.
Yes, sir.
Okay, looks like you got a short list with 3 there.
Yes, sir. We've just got one new covenant, that there's a release in with it. And then the second are both continuations due to a purchase. And we have field visited those as well, and we're recommending approval on those.
Okay. And if I recall right, I think their deadline, as we saw in the governor's order, is April 1st each year, for new covenants or renewals. But then they're for the 15-year period instead of 10.
Well, no, sir. The new FLIPAs, when the laws changed last year, that they're only for 10 years as well.
Okay, right. Okay, thanks for reminding me. That's
So
right.
some of the, I guess those continuations could be on 15-year covenants if according to when the covenant started, but that new one will only be a 10-year covenant.
That's right. Thanks for updating us. So now the law changed. It was 15, but when they renew it, it then becomes under a new 10-year covenant. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Do we have a motion to approve the FLIPAs as recommended by Lauren on the list?
And this is just for the applications, right? Because you have
It is. Well, there's one release too.
Yeah. Okay. Motion that we approve the list of applications as presented.
A second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. All right. Then we move on. Let's see. I believe we need a motion to approve the one release as presented, recommended by the chief appraiser.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve the release as recommended by the chief appraiser.
Second.
Okay. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Thanks. All right. Now let's see. Moving on to member matters. Let's see, Lauren. Let's back up. We were talking about the that memo from Ashley O'Donnell. I say McDonald, but it's O'Donnell, isn't it? Ashley O'Donnell, who's executive director of Georgia Association of Assessing Officials. And this came out yesterday. I believe, wasn't that the same date as the governor's order, or was it?
Yes. Well, this came out yesterday in response to the governor's press conference on Wednesday.
I see. When did the order we looked at with a FLIPA and Cuba, when did the governor sign? And
that was quite a bit. That was on the 31st of March.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead. You were going to share something with us on this.
Yes, sir. So, it just, it talks about us discussing the steps our office is going to take to assist citizens and the restrictions and so on and so forth. And we've discussed all of that previously in the meeting. However, the next line is encourage your local authorities to authorize the tax commissioner the ability to waive penalties by adopting resolutions pursuant to 48.5. 242C, and this is going to be in relation with personal property. When personal property is filed after the April 1st deadline, there's a penalty on any unreturned property, and the tax commissioner's office is the office that has the ability to waive that penalty. The tax assessor's office cannot. So I have discussed it with Jamie, and he said that for any case where the return was late due to being unable to access documents because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that he has no problem waiving penalties for that, and he will make it into a resolution.
Well, hang
So,
on, hang on just a minute, Lauren. Looks like you've, does that code section he cites there, does that have a provision that allows the local governing authority, or board of commissioners, to do a resolution and waive it? I know.
it does, yes, sir.
It does, okay, so he's citing something that's already in the law, okay.
Yes, sir.
And that relieves my concern, because what jumped out at me, see, Ashley is a chief appraiser. He's basically your counterpart up in Whitfield County. And of course, we as the board members have voted and given him the executive director position. But I know that the GAAO is like our advocate to the Department of Revenue and legislature and governor to make positive change, regarding, he's sort of, the group is the voice of all of us tax officials. But, we think of it as being our advocate in Atlanta, and sort of like similar to a lobbyist type thing, but it's not giving direction. Like we saw the orders from the governor, the governor can issue orders, but the board can't issue, but you're clarifying, he's just pointing out something that already is in the law, that he's like reminding everyone, here's something that you can look at.
Yes, there is a provision there that allows him to waive penalties if necessary.
Okay,
So,
well, that alleviates my concern. I thought about, he doesn't have the he's not the governor, so it's telling folks what to do and disregard a law or whatever. But if there's a provision already there, that's fine. So
okay.
so
And
you are you've been so what you're saying is you're going to be coordinating with Jamie
already have.
and working with Carol on and it was the board of commissioners. Of course, we don't tell them what to do, but we're going to point out that code section.
Well, Jamie will be the one that will waive that. And so, we'll keep the Board of Commissioners office up to date. Yes, sir.
Oh, so when he says local authority, he's talking about the tax commissioner, not the local governing authority.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
And
Sherry,
I think that he's also talking about the Board of Assessors there as well. And so then the next item says, encourage local authorities to understand our elderly population are most at risk during this time and least likely to use electronic devices to file for exemptions. Following our president and governor's orders, citizens should not be.
Well, and you can stop right there. That's part of it that concerns me. We see Governor Kemp specifically talk about CUVA and specifically talk about FLIPA, but he didn't talk about homesteads. He didn't talk about, which was also the April 1st deadline. And so in my mind, I'm assuming Department of Revenue officials discussed it with them and they decided not to do it or not to include it. And, we just don't throw a section of the law book out the window. And we're not the governor. We don't, we don't decide he should have included others, and we'll do it anyway, kind of thing.
Yes, sir. So it says here that that to let everybody know that taxpayers will receive their notices of assessment later this year. And there will be a 45-day appeal period once they get that assessment notice. And the 45-day appeal period does allow to appeal a denial of homestead. And so I have directed my staff that, if somebody makes a homestead application, we're not going to not take it. We're going to take that application. And then at the time that it's presented to the Board of Assessors, it will be up to y'all to decide how we're going to go forward with handling those, because the appeal period does allow an appeal on a denial of homestead for whatever reason. And they were stating here that the GAAO believes that no board or jury would deny an exemption due to an untimely filing because of the current circumstances. So
that last statement, I agree. If somebody hands you something, just go ahead and take it and sit on it. But really, you know, Ashley, he needs to be working with DOR officials and working at the Capitol. In other words, you know,
I understand completely what you're saying,
Right.
Dan, that they have not, the law does not provide for an extension
Right.
in this case for
and they
homestead.
may be doing that behind the scene, and there could be something coming. That may
Right,
be why he's saying, don't slam the door in front of somebody's face, take it and sit on it.
correct, yes, sir.
All
And
right, well,
so,
I appreciate you sharing this. It looks like there's no action. But I know we've sort of gotten our hands slapped on this issue, you know, about that deadline being a hard deadline for homesteads, and we've gotten hit up in audit reports and that kind of thing in the past. And so what I would suggest is just share that with our council, more of an FYI, and but I mean, I don't see any. I mean, it sounds like the part that the top that the law provides, you're already coordinating with the tax commissioner on that.
yes, sir.
But like I say, what jumped out at me, like I say, GAAL, I think of it as our advocate. We as members, you know, you chief appraisers, your staff, the board members, all of us that are, members of GAO and go to the meetings and get the newsletters and all. We're the ones that have empowered our board and officers to act on our behalf, and they're not to be hammering on us what to do. The governor hammers on us what to do in the legislature, Department of Revenue, and those folks. But like I say, the GAA is our advocate working for us. That makes sense. So, does any other discussion for Lauren just on this memo, or?
I will just note here, not on this memo, but that that this was a shortened meeting. We did not handle our regular monthly business like approving the minutes from past meetings and that sort of thing. And it was also a trial run for the Zoom. So we do need to have a meeting in another couple of weeks to get those minutes approved and maybe these minutes approved and handle anything, as this is, as you guys know, an ever-changing situation.
Right, we've got, and let's wrap up this first, and we'll
Okay.
move on to everything else. With regard to this memo from Ashley O'Donnell, Executive Director, GAAO, are there any other questions for Lauren or discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on. Let's see, Lauren, you can back to our agenda. We're at member matters. Let's see. You did have them two side by side, but I think your screen, have you changed it, Lauren?
Oh, I just was trying to make it larger for you guys to be able to see the memo.
Okay.
There you go.
And I appreciate, and that was helpful. I appreciate that. So we're moving back to our agenda now. Member matters. Let's see. Omar, did you have anything?
I do not.
This morning? Okay. Sandra, did you have anything for the group?
No, I don't have anything today. Thank you.
I assume if any of y'all had training or conferences set up, they've been canceled and postponed. I saw Caveat's going to be postponed from May and held in Athens in the fall in November.
Well, right now, Sandra has a class the first week of June, and we haven't heard anything about that. So as far as I know, that's still on the schedule, but we're just waiting to see.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks for that. And then I see the web-based training is continuing on for, there's some opportunities for taking classes online.
Yes, sir. That's for people, for assessors and people that already have their core classes. So you would be able to do that if you needed time, but Mr. McCants and Sandra need to attend a hard class.
Okay. All right. And let's see, the other thing, let's see, what I was going to share with the group, Lauren, you got your budget package from Carol in the last few days, just saying that the deadline is April 30th for us to get our budget over to Carol for the, and it was to submit our proposed budget for the next fiscal year. As everyone recalls, we had a budget workshop scheduled, let's see, back, I guess that was what, March 16th. And we postponed it right as all this whole situation was unfolding. Lauren, I believe you've about got your budget. You had it pretty well finalized, and then you're going to maybe tweak it to include like this new module we talked about earlier, and just a few little things as y'all are doing the teleworking. You're sort of revisiting it and scratching your head in case there's something else to propose to us. But that's one of the things that we do need to do is, and it looks like we're going to have to do it the same manner as this morning. And as Lauren just pointed out, we've got a few other items that like we normally would be doing. I told her to try to keep this pretty brief, and I see now we've gone about an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm pleased, Lauren and I discussed that we were going to try to keep this roughly an hour. And, you know, I have no idea if anybody's watching us on YouTube, but I thought
We had 3 people watching. I think one of them was my iPad, so I don't know who the other 2 people were.
All right, so maybe Quentin or it could be Carol. So we'll maybe we can. But anyway, I thought this was sort of a trial run, but it seems to me that it's been a success. I don't know what y'all are experiencing on your end.
I think it went well.
Yeah, very well. Go ahead.
So what I thought we'd try to do is maybe have these sort of like a 1 hour web conference, and if we need to do it more frequently and sort of split our business up into chunks we can deal with in an efficient manner, but at the same time all doing our due diligence to know what we're doing and have our discussion and questions and so on for the staff.
Sounds good to me.
So
do y'all have any suggestions on the presentation? Was it good for you guys to have the agenda on one side and the business on the other side? Did that work?
I like it. I really do.
Okay.
In other words, like we talked about earlier in the week, I mean, I can picture, we may want to think of the next, the budget, having the little screens on our board table, one facing each direction, and instead of having a stack of paper that we're all getting mixed up and all, I like doing it this way. And so,
okay, so I guess we just maybe need to come up with a date and a time for the next meeting, and will we be handling the regular monthly business at that point, or will we be doing a budget thing?
Let's hold off on our regular meeting business with the April 30th deadline. Today's the 3rd. So you're looking at roughly 3 weeks. You've got to get Carol our budget. So probably let's think of maybe 2 weeks out. We probably need to have our budget workshop.
Can y'all see that calendar there?
Part of it.
Yeah, just tell me what you're thinking.
I'm available.
Let's see. What about 2 weeks from today? I guess right now we can't the thing about now, Lauren, is my calendar was full with travel and appointments and here, there, and yonder. But then the order to stay home erased all that. Even you and I were talking about the conference in Athens. So basically everything on my calendar is wiped. The only place I go now is the grocery store. So, and I guess we're all in the same boat, aren't we?
Yes, sir. So y'all want to do Friday morning again?
Why don't we say that tentative, but like I said, it looks like we're all pretty much wide open. So I know you have to post the notice and then follow the Open Meetings Act.
Yeah, is 9:30 good with y'all still?
Yeah, you want to say
What
Friday,
are we thinking, Friday the 17th?
the 17th at 9:30, and just hold that tentative. And like I say, if something happens, like I say, we're all pretty flexible. So if I'm glad that we're all, doing, well, and I hope everyone's family is doing well, and we're all trying to avoid do the social distancing and so on. But let's see if if we hold that, that'll be for our budget workshop, which that'll allow Lauren time to finalize the package, and then give her time to make any changes that we propose. And if we see some, or think of some new things that I had mentioned to Lauren, like, used to, you thought of the TV screen, monitors and that kind of thing as big luxury items. But I think now you can get like those TV screens for, $200 or $300, I believe. So that may be an idea, but since she mentioned about a projector, so I think she's going to explore some options in that regard, for like doing presentations to Lions Club, things like that, if she were invited.
All right.
Okay, let's see. If no more member matters, let's see, we talked about the next meeting scheduled. Anybody have anything else? If none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All
Second.
right. Okay, so we have a motion, and let's say, I believe, on my clock, it's 10:50. So we went, what, about an hour and 15 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Okay. All right, thanks, everyone. Like I said, I think this has been a success. And Lauren, you can give Carol a report and tell her we tried it out and it worked.
Okay, will do. Thank y'all.
Keep us posted on the Board of Commissioners. We may want to eavesdrop on them. We can log in, watch them Monday. So
Okay, I'll let you know.
if you get an invite or link or whatever, let us know.
Okay, thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Lauren,
All right,
Yes,
all right, thanks.
ma'am.
when we're on YouTube like this, is there a way for people to comment as we're going?
There is. There's a live chat, but we have not had any chatting taking place so far.
Yeah, I just wonder, this is new to me too. And so I'm amazed I was able to actually do it with your help. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. You're
Well,
welcome.
and one other thing on that, Sandra, was, the open, normally if we have the public comment, they fill out a form ahead of time so we know what they want to, or Lauren at least has an idea what they want to gripe about or whatever. And so we
Right.
didn't want to circumvent all that, but at the same time, we wanted to comply with the law and be as accessible, be the quote open meeting. It may not
Yeah.
be
I-
closed.
I just thought it would be interesting because a lot of the different group things that I have been looking at and listening to, the people comment and it just shows on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that.
If we had done it on Facebook Live, we could have done it like that and the comments would have been showing on the screen, but we would not have been able to see them during the meeting unless we were also watching the live video on Facebook.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
And I think you just sent us the link. I'm opening it up to see. Okay, I see. Okay, it just popped up. Okay.
Okay.
It says 2 people are watching. It's probably me and you, I reckon.
Well, you weren't in there before now, and it had been saying 2 already, so it hadn't updated for me to say that there's extra. I hear myself. Okay. Are y'all ready for me to end the meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like there's about a second or 2 lag. Okay,
All right. Y'all have a great day.
that's odd listening to your
Okay.
cell phone. All right, thanks, everyone. Okay, and thanks, Laura. Like I say, commend your staff. I think y'all are handling the situation professional and best you can.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.